Okay, we're back for the second half of the show. We still have Don on the phone, and I think we've corrected the issue there. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay. So I don't know what we lost in all the communication, but you could have what's called a salt wasting nephropathy, where you could be losing potassium through your urine. You could also have a dietary insufficiency where you're not really getting that much potassium in your diet. And that might be an issue. So there's always this balance between intake and excretion that you have to deal with.
Is there any way that, I'm trying to make an appointment with you, is there any way that you could give me a diet thing that I can go by to where I don't have to, okay, last time I went to the hospital, they said you were talking about it earlier, that's why I got you on. My red cells or something like that is eating my white cells, or my white cells are eating my red cells, or something like that. And it's very scary.
Well, if you were anemic and having some type of problem with your blood, there is a condition where you get what they call a hemolytic anemia, where your
Nobody's ever tested me for that, or nothing.
Okay. Well, my suggestion is they don't have that. They have the Wellness Center number up there, but my number is 6111-751-6111. And you can call in and we can at least get the records from the hospital. We can review those, and then we can also set some new blood work and then see what those parameters are, and then make a decision on where we go from there. So.
Right. Okay, another thing, got another question. Remember I had that infection in my leg, my right leg. Okay. It is 10 times worse, and I'm thinking it's on the other side now because the left leg looks like the right leg now.
I'm sorry, I lost you there. You said you had some swelling or an infection?
It's the infection in my leg. I went to the hospital and I did what do you call it? Sonogram? I don't know what you call it.
Did you have
ultrasound?
Oh, yeah, ultrasound. Okay.
They did all that on my leg, and I got the infection all the way up to my cheek.
Yeah, they were probably looking for a blood clot of some type. So.
No, the infection. I stepped on a. Goat head.
You did what?
I think I stepped on a goat head outside. That's the only thing I can think of.
Okay.
Or else, in the hoosegow.
Well, listen, I mean, with these kind of issues, I think it's probably a good idea you just come in and get seen, because, I mean...
I need somebody to really help me, and you know what? You're my primary doctor right now, and
well, then, you better get on in there.
All right, I called today, and nobody called me back, so I'll get it done again.
Yeah, no, I'll ask the girls why they didn't call you back. Sometimes they take some of those messages at the end of the day, so they should get to you then today. So.
And I need to get Mom on what I told you that I needed her to get on, okay?
Okay, well, we'll discuss that on the air, but you can come on in and we'll get that squared away.
All right, I love you bunches. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling in. So, yeah, sometimes we like to try and help you out, give you an idea what's going on at the same time. Some things are better off done person to person. So, but I appreciate the calls, and if I can answer any question, none of them are too stupid or too silly. So feel free to call in, and your time to sit back, relax, and ask a question, not in the pressure of worried about whether or not I have to leave the room. I'm here for the next 20 minutes, so it's a good time to think about something you might forgot to ask the doctor, and call in and see if we can't give you an idea where to go with that. But anyway, we were talking about cholesterol before we took the break, and so I was giving you those parameters, those numbers that you should be in. Understanding that there are people who have horrible looking cholesterols on labs but never develop any type of atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. And there are people that have really good cholesterols that look good on lab that do develop heart disease. So there is an unknown factor that we haven't really discovered and complete the puzzle You know, there is a new drug out there, which is an injection for bad LDL cholesterol, and we're going to let Chuck occupy my time before I talk about that. Hey, Chuck.
Hey, Doc, how you doing?
Good.
How was your Christmas and New Year?
Well, it was good. It's always good to be away, a little stressful. I tried to bite off more than I could chew. I get a little anxious when I'm away for longer than a week from the office. There was just too much going on and too busy time of year, but it's good to be back.
Yeah, you won't believe how great retirement is. I know you probably will never get there, but
No.
it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Hey, I saw a very disturbing documentary on vaccinations, but it's certainly something I wish you could take a look at to give your opinion of. It's called Vaxxed, V-A-X-X-E-D, From Cover-Up to Catastrophe. And it was made in 2016, and you know, it basically revolves around a study at the CDC that was obviously doctored, and the head scientist in the study has become a whistleblower, and Congress is involved, and on and on. And it gives you know the documentation on the parabolic rise of autism, and the basically introduction of the combined MMR vaccine in the mid-'80s. And basically, it asks the question of why we have to give these MMR vaccinations as one unit rather than separating them into measles, mumps, and rubella. And also, why do we got to give them at such an early stage to our children? And, you know, there never was an answer, really, other than money. But it's a heart-wrenching film because, naturally, it shows the many parents and children that got the vaccination then almost immediately deteriorated into severe autism and problems like that. So please, if I know you're very busy, but if you ever get a chance, it's on Netflix.
Okay.
And it's called VAXXED.
Okay.
So I'll leave it up with you then. Thanks.
Well, and certainly, there are a lot of people. There is a school of thought out there that does tie the rate of autism to the vaccines, and certainly, if you look at the amount of autism that does exist, is it a straight function of percentage of populations, and what would that legitimate track be? Meaning, if it's 3% of the population, but now it's 8%, that tracks out of line, and there has to be an epidemiological reason for this increase. And is it based on food? Is it based on something along that line? Is it based on radio waves? I mean, who really knows? And you could do population studies to see where they don't give the MMR, like in Mexico. There tends to be a low factor of immunization. What's their autism rate? And so usually you can exclude different populations and do something. I haven't read the documentary, and certainly as a whistleblower, that would be certainly the case. So I don't know. I mean, it's something that you really have to, excuse me, something you really have to, do a little investigation, a meta-analysis, and find out what happened. But I haven't. And why do you have to give 3 together? Probably no particular reason, other than the fact that that's just the way they make them. You don't want to give 3 injections, a risk of 3 sites of problem, things of that nature. And certainly if there was one thing you could link to it, whether it be mumps, measles, or rubella, then you'd want to extract that particular part of it. Is mumps kill anybody? Well, not really. I had the measles. I didn't suffer any great consequences, and I have cellular immunity to it, and people in my generation do. I think for birth defects and things of that nature, that might be a useful thing. But are we creating as many problems as we're solving? I don't really know. But I will try and get to watch that. I think that's you always have a good insight to the conspiracy behind a lot of things, and I do believe there's a lot of truths that aren't told. But look at what happens when you get a measles outbreak in California because of some illegals that come across the border that don't have it, and then you find that the vaccine really wasn't effective anyway because it didn't really stimulate the immunity. So, is it a bigger plan, a bigger conspiracy? Is there a bigger issue? I always believe there's something behind everything. Somebody has an ulterior motive today. Life's pretty complicated, and I'm sure you are well of that too, considering your background and where you've been and what you've seen. So you just never know these days. So all I know is Trump is president in 12 days, so that or 11 days could be a good thing. But we're going to go to break. We'll be back.